Howdy. Happy Friday officially. And as you can see, I'm channeling my inner Key West here and putting my flamingo game front and center, hopefully inspiring some warmer weather. It's been 6 degrees here lately and I'm over that for sure. So hey, before you head into your weekend, I want to give you a quick tip on giving feedback. So I'm going to give you 2 different styles of how I used to give feedback in the past before some really good leadership development work and self-awareness work, and how I give feedback now. So the second version of how I give feedback will really be using non-defensive language and some curiosity. But both styles, you'll see I'm wrestling with emotion in both. The first strategy I don't use anymore now, as best as I can, again, still learning. But it's more of an offloading strategy of me feeling really frustrated and just trying to offload it and place blame. Again, it's what I knew and it's how I knew how to give feedback, but now I know how to do it differently, and hopefully this will help you. So let's pretend there was a meeting yesterday and I am frustrated about the results of the meeting because my teammate is just not making any progress. And I'm going to go in and talk to my boss about that. So I would go in and say, hey, Tim, my boss, I would say, you know what, I'm pissed off. I'm sick of Kevin not making any progress on this project. Every time we go into this meeting, he's got excuses. He is not hitting the deliverables as he promised. Every time he doesn't, it impacts my project. And now some of this stuff is coming onto my plate and I'm getting sick of it. It should not be on my plate. I should not have to handle his project deliverables, ever. And the fact that you're not holding him accountable makes it worse. So I need to know why that's not happening. I need to know what we're gonna do differently. I'm getting burnt out. That would be it. That's the old version of Sabrina and how I would give feedback when I felt frustrated. So version 2, same scenario. Hey, Tim, can we chat for just a minute? I'm feeling really frustrated and irritated about yesterday's meeting. And I'm feeling that way because I'm making up Kevin doesn't care about hitting these deliverables on time. Each time we go into this meeting, he's unable to hit the timeline. It feels like he doesn't care about the project, and honestly, I'm making up that you don't care about holding him accountable. I don't know if either one of those stories I'm making up are true, but that's what I believe to be true, and it's starting to feel really stressful for me. I'm starting to feel resentful as a result because I feel like I have to pick up the slack, and I don't want to do that, but I also want to understand what I'm missing because maybe I'm missing something. And if I need to temporarily pick up the slack, I think we should talk about it. But if it's something else, if I'm just taking on some of this on my own and making it something it need not be and feeling frustrated for no reason, it would be helpful. We need to come up with a different plan because this isn't working. And I'm curious what you would think about what a different plan would look like. Can I reality check some of these stories I'm making up before I go home for the weekend? Okay, great. Okay. So difference between the two and why they matter. So the first style was me offloading, being pissed off, frustrated, and more. Very blaming and shaming in nature. Somewhat accusatory of my boss, and then holding my boss accountable to holding somebody else accountable and asking him when he's going to handle it. Probably not going to go over well. Probably going to make my boss defensive. I'm probably going to end up getting pinched there. And probably being in a situation I don't want to be in. But again, it's a common style that we see in workplaces a lot. Style 2 that you just saw was the use of non-defensive language because I was owning my stuff. I was owning my emotions, saying, I feel this way. More importantly, you heard me saying, I'm making up that Kevin doesn't care, and I'm making up that you're not going to hold him accountable. The reason those matter is in the absence of information, I have made up a story. That's a perfect example of what we do, what our brains do when we don't have enough information. I don't know if Kevin cares, but that's how I'm feeling about him. And I don't know if my boss is going to hold him accountable, but that's how I'm feeling about him. And this allows me to own my perceptions and my stuff versus offloading it and blaming other people. So right out of the gate, it feels a little less emotionally punchy. It feels a little more grounded and centered. It's okay for us to be frustrated and angry at work. It was okay for me. I needed to own my emotions though, and I needed to own the stories I was making up about that situation. So that way we could get on common ground. And you also heard me say we need to come up with a different plan. So that was me asking for help. I was also getting curious, saying, I don't know what's going on, but I want to know. Maybe I should know. Maybe I'm making a big deal out of this. All professional approaches to figuring out what's happening versus coming out swinging, shaming, and blaming. At the end of the day, our work and our work lives, there are relationships involved with all of this. So I want to be able to work in spaces and lead in spaces where we can effectively problem solve and talk to each other without assuming negative intent, because I do believe people are doing the best that they can, including Kevin, including my boss, and me. So have a great weekend. Hope that's helpful. See you soon. Hopefully with some nice weather.